Yeah, g'day. Kia ora. Pastor K1ll Bromley here, coming at you from the United States of America. I've been pretty busy the last couple of months preparing for this trip to be over here for a number of reasons. So I haven't really kept up with a lot of politics, to be honest. Had my head down, tail up. But a good friend of mine, Casey Hinkman from Wake Up NZ, brought this to my attention several months ago, but as I said, I've been so busy, head down, tail up, I didn't really dig into it. And I just wondered, how legitimate this is and what the case is in terms of the reality of this alleged report that the New Zealand Defence Force is actually, in all reality, has been training in war game exercises to kill Christians. As strange and as outrageously crazy as that seems, it is true. In 2025, it has been confirmed by Brigadier Grant Motley of the New Zealand Defence Force that yes, the New Zealand Defence Force has been using a scenario in war games that is characterised against a fictitious Christian nationalist group that seeks to make New Zealand a Christian nation again. And the backstory is that this Christian nationalist group was opposing or vying for the deportation of Muslims, so they were Islamophobic, and they were smuggling weapons and attacking security forces. This is something very disturbing, that the New Zealand Army would actually be practicing war game scenarios against Christian nationalists and characterizing them as the enemy and being authorized to use lethal force in these exercises to take them out. Now, you can follow this up on some X accounts to verify the validity of this. As I said, it sounds as crazy as a moon made of cheese, but it's a reality. You can check this out with Kurt Mulberg, Rod Lampard, Penny Marie NZ with Rachel Scott, and also United We Stand, which is a group of past and current New Zealand Defence Force personality, New Zealand Police and Emergency Services personnel, brains going fuzzy, who raised this issue in December 2025 and apparently has just come out with some feedback from the Brigadier Grant Motley of the New Zealand Defence Force that this is so. And that came out, I think, early February 2026. And the message was, no harm intended, no offence intended. Really? This is disturbing stuff. Out of the 23 groups of terrorist organisation on New Zealand's watch list, none of them are Christians, and you might be interested to see the names of those terror groups. There is no real life model for this kind of fictitious scenario that the New Zealand Defence Force was using. Just think about that. In 2017, the New Zealand government took the name of Jesus Christ out of our government prayer. Fast forward 8 years, we have the New Zealand Defence Force, the New Zealand Army, playing war games with the scenario of killing New Zealand Christian nationalists. Let that sink in. What's this about? There's a globalist ideological campaign to undermine, deconstruct any nations with a Christian foundation. New Zealand's just one of them. You see that this at work from the left in the United States, in the UK, all around the world, Australia, yes, and New Zealand, which perhaps, in my view, is more far gone than many other nations, maybe exceeded only by the UK. What's this about? Well, interestingly enough, allegedly the New Zealand Army, in its parallel programs, has also put $45,000 into support the rainbow community and LGBTQ plus sensitivity training within the New Zealand Armed Forces. Yeah, this is DEI at work. Folks, we need to spread this video and the other videos that do a far better job of reporting on this than myself. We need to spread it all around the internet and all over the world to expose the real extremism in New Zealand and its government. Case in point, primary exhibit, the New Zealand Defence Force actually 4 times in 2025 training in their military exercises in a fictitious scenario with a map that shows the South Island of New Zealand very clearly, and an exercise against Christian nationalists who, their crime in the scenario, who wanted to establish New Zealand as a Christian nation. Well, New Zealand was once a Christian nation. It used to be called God's own. If anything, Christians would desire to re-establish, to recover, to restore New Zealand as a Christian nation, but not by violence. And instead of using a war game scenario, highlighting one of the terrorist groups on the New Zealand terror watch list, no. For some reason, you tell me, they chose to make up a scenario to make the enemy traditional New Zealand Christians with traditional New Zealand values. Let that sink in. Please, if you're concerned, share this video everywhere across the United States to embarrass our New Zealand government and Defence Force, who ought to publicly, openly give an outright apology to not just New Zealanders, but specifically New Zealand Christians. Spread the video everywhere across the United States, across New Zealand, and across the world. This kind of utter perverse insanity, shameless bigotry, deconstructive ideological purveyance within our defence services and across our culture needs to be exposed.